Senator Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to both of you for being here today. I want to echo what others have already pointed out. It's somewhat awkward to have a budget hearing without the Army's budget. So when it is released by the Pentagon later this month, I hope we can work together to talk about priorities in the budget and how we can fight for them. But General George, thanks to the inspirational leadership of President Trump and Secretary Hegseth, there's a big difference between this year and last year when it comes to Army recruitment. And I want to unpack that with you a little bit. The Army has already met its recruiting goals for the rest of this fiscal year. The Army is seeing its best recruitment numbers in over 10 years. And the Army has already beaten its retention goal for the year. What do you make of that? What's the big difference between last year and this year that has gotten us to that point?
I would tell you, Senator, we have made steady improvement over time with that. As you know, we've been talking about how we pick our recruiters, the leaders that we have, giving them the right technology, the technology to make sure they're doing that, reducing the amount of forms and things that people are figuring out. So we hope to continue on that exact. We have had very good months. I think we are at this point in time, where we got this, we hadn't seen this since 2014. So we're very happy with where we're at.
You say we've had very good months, and I want to go there. Was there a good month? Was there a point, if you study the trends of these recruitment numbers, when did you see this significant shift? Because this is a significant difference between last year and this year.
Yeah, I can get you the monthly data that goes, back from September, October, and we have seen a slight rise, but we've been on a pretty good, steady path.
I just want to. Was November an indicator? November 5th.
We did have a really.
Was there a significant increase in Army recruitment after November 5th?
We have seen recruitment numbers come up a little bit.
Yeah, because it seems obvious to me that who the commander-in-chief is matters to military recruitment, and I have seen those trends, General, and it would be great to unpack them even further with you, the difference between last year and this year, and a Pentagon that's focused on lethality, a commander-in-chief who's inspiring the next generation to step up and serve our country. And my big question for you, though, is how do we keep that going? What do we do from this point forward to keep those recruitment numbers heading in the direction that they are?
This is a discussion we have, pretty consistently. I mean, I think we have to continue to do what we're doing. We have to constantly evaluate. For us, are we getting the right? We track, 16 different specialties and making sure that we're doing it. One of them that we have been doing very well on this year that we have had struggles with was 18 X-ray. How do we reach those people? How are we assessing folks in there? So how we look at our marketing, I think this is just something that we have to constantly evaluate, Senator. And it's important too on the retention side. You mentioned that what we're doing inside of our formation to make sure that we're retaining our soldiers.
Can you give us some anecdotes or reasons why higher recruitment and higher retention matters to the United States Army?
I mean, I think it matters to everybody in the joint force. So you want to have fully capable, trained formations.
What can you do with better retention and recruitment that you couldn't do without?
What's important about retention is that you're keeping, we were just talking about cyber, you're keeping somebody in that you've trained. Some people, I enlisted in the Army, many, many years ago. You look at keeping people that you have invested in, you've trained in. Oftentimes people have other opportunities. They stay because of the team and because of the mission. Signal, I can go down, but NCOs really drive our training inside of our formation at the platoon, company, and battalion level, and keeping those great NCOs on our team is obviously critically important to our lethality.
And Senator, it's a virtuous cycle. When we are having a harder time recruiting, we have to lower standards, which definitionally means we're letting in just a different population, and the Army feels that. And what we're able to do now is there's so much demand. We can start to raise standards. We can start to focus on putting people where we have the most need.
And clearly the last administration lowered standards to meet recruitment goals. And can we go backwards and put those standards back to where they need to be so that we're getting the best and the brightest, since the Trump bump of recruitment is obviously real. So I guess that's what I'm going for. How do
We are actively, quantitatively raising standards on things like our APFT. And if this momentum continues, we will continue to prioritize giving slots to basic training to the most qualified young adult.
That's really great news. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Senator Banks. Senator Slotkin.